California is now reporting its first case of the COVID variant from the UK. That's right on the heels of Colorado's first case reported yesterday. And COVID-19 cases overall continue to climb across the country, with more than 229,000 new cases yesterday. Here's a look at the 7-day averages of 3 of the hardest hit states. They're once again in the Northeast. New York's hospitalizations have climbed 15%. Cases up 4%. Connecticut, hospitalizations up 3%. The positivity rate is 6%. And in Massachusetts, hospitalizations are up 11%, and the positivity rate is just over 7%. All this, of course, as the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are slowly being administered. Just over 2 million Americans have received the shot so far. That's far short of earlier forecasts for having 20 million Americans vaccinated by now. Joining me is Dr. John Torres to talk about these efforts, doctor, and what can be done to speed up the progress at this point. Should we do what the UK is going to be doing with the next vaccine and start just at least trying to get the first dose to more people instead of worrying about the double dose right away?
Yeah, and right now at this point, a lot of experts are saying we shouldn't really be doing that, mainly because we don't know how much protection that first dose gives you. Well, Pfizer came out with some information saying the first dose, yeah, we think it's around 52%, and it seemed to last for 21 days, but we didn't study it beyond that, so we don't know if it lasts beyond it. We do know that the double dose gives you that 95% protection, and that can last well into a couple of months. And so I think at this point, giving people 2 shots because we're giving them to the most vulnerable and those that are most likely to catch COVID is an important step. But I think we can also take this a step forward. And if you look at some other countries, they're doing essentially mass vaccination events across the country, which we're not doing here yet. I think we're going to get to that point, and I think that you're going to see that happen early on in January, or at least by mid-January, late January. And so, getting it distributed is one thing, but getting shots in arms is that one step we need to make sure that we're doing in order to get people protected, Kelly.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, we're at a point where those efforts are lagging. The case count is up. We have the new variant. What do we know about the new variant? It was interesting that part of the reason why the UK picked up on it so early is that they just do more, I think it's genetic testing or sequencing of COVID than we do. So, by a multiple times over, it's just another place in which we're kind of lagging. So it's quite possible that's been here in this country already.
Oh, it's definitely possible. It's been here in the country already. And to a certain extent, closing out the UK and making sure that people aren't traveling to other places is a little bit like closing the barn door once the horses have already gotten out. Because at this point, I'm in Colorado, and the place where it was first detected is about 30 miles away from me. It's an assisted living center. These people don't travel. So it came from somewhere in the community, which means that it's already here in the U.S. But we're not surveying enough to understand where these variants might be. And like you mentioned, they are doing that in the UK. Now, there is a distinction. People are getting these PCR tests. That's the nasal swab. That tells them whether they have COVID, but it doesn't really tell you the variant. They need to do much more sophisticated testing. And what they need to do is take a certain sample, maybe 0.5% or % of those people, and look to see if that might be happening in the communities. We're not there yet. They're trying to gin that up, but we're a year into this pandemic, and we still haven't gotten to that point, which is concerning.
So where are we going to be in another 2 to 3 weeks' time? I mean, what's fundamentally going to change to speed up the vaccination effort?
Well, I think you're going to see, number one, the wrinkles being ironed out of the vaccination distribution. And like your graphic mentioned, they expected 20 million distributed by now. Only less than 3 million people have actually got the vaccines. If you listen to Operation Warp Speed, they talk about vaccines that were distributed, not shots in arms. And so we need to make sure that we get that good pace up there. You have a graphic there for what's going on now. We need much higher pacing than that in order to get people vaccinated. Some experts are saying if we don't speed things up, we're talking fall before we get people vaccinated. But other experts are saying, we think this is going to work out over the next few weeks. Administrations are going to change, and we think there's going to be a much bigger effort to push the vaccines out quicker, Kelly.
Yeah. No, we hope so. Don't want it to be all year again. Dr. John Torres, thanks for your time today. We do appreciate it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.